Oh, here, this is...
You see today's White House press briefing? If you didn't, you missed Democratic operatives posing as reporters, stunned by the idea that mail-in voting might not be totally 100% secure.
No one is stunned by this. No one is... Floki, thank you for the 20 tier 1 gift subs. No one is saying that, like, mail-in votes, or, like, voting in general is always 100% correct. Okay? Not a single person has thought that this is the case. In-person voting is not 100% correct. Okay? I don't know why there is this mentality that, like, something is going to have 100% security or integrity in any capacity. The point is not to ensure 100%, because that's not going to happen. It's not a guarantee. You will never be able to have that. The point is to reduce the amount of fraud as best as you possibly can, even though it is statistically insignificant. And the point is to make sure that the errors are as little as possible. The errors committed in the process are as little as possible. That's it.
It was amusing to watch. Of course, the risks of mail-in voting are obvious. The latest example of that came today. DOJ announced that the FBI and the Pennsylvania State Police are investigating fraud in mail-in ballots in Luzerne County. That's the place Donald Trump won by double digits 4 years ago. According to DOJ, several military ballots were, quote, discarded. Investigators have recovered a total of 9 ballots so far. Not surprisingly, the DOJ says an overwhelming majority of those ballots were cast for guess who?
9 ballots, Tucker. You can't give the game away, Tucker. You can't state 9 ballots and then with a straight face say the overwhelming majority voted for Trump. Are you fucking stupid? You just admitted that it's 9. Oh no, that's how stupid Republicans are, though. Like, they will literally think like, oh well, the majority was, well, today it's 9, tomorrow it's 90, and the next day it's 900. Still, none of that would be enough, but whatever.
Donald Trump. Meanwhile, in Greenville, Wisconsin, authorities announced Tuesday that 3 trays of mail, including mail-in ballots, were discovered in a ditch, not counted, in a ditch. We've seen other examples of this throughout the year, including deliberate mail-in ballot fraud in New Jersey and in West Virginia. Just hours ago in the state of Texas, the state attorney general announced that a county commissioner and several others have been arrested in an organized mail-in balloting scheme.
What's the district for this? Here's a quick solution. Pennsylvania district ballot. Let's take a look. Feds investigating discarded Pennsylvania ballots. Unusual statement says. Okay. What is it? What district is it? Voting rights announcement comes to the president. Potential voting irregularities in Pennsylvania came to light after Trump mentioned them offhand. Be very careful with the ballots, President told. Discovery by local officials. Shelby Wachilla for the Luzerne County. So I don't remember the name, so I just wanted to make sure. It's in Luzerne County, right? Luzerne County, Republican registration up more than 6,000 votes. Voter information, register to vote. Luzerne County Ballotpedia. Let's take a look. County population 318,000. The county seat is Wilkes-Barre. Ballotpedia provides comprehensive coverage. Okay. Why not? Why vote and not just give Trump 4 more years? What? The reason why I'm looking into this is I'm just trying to see if, like, I'm trying to see if it's a fucking red county or not. Okay. I want to see what percentage of voters voted Republican in Luzerne County. And it's, what is it? It's, there were 208,000 registered voters. Republicans were 37%. Democrats were 50%. Really? That's surprising. Didn't they vote for Trump? Breaking Trump shows hands may his tail. Supreme Court. We must not vilify the entire establishment because of a few bad actors. Wait, are we talking about systemic racism or ballot fraud? I'm confused. Classically blue, but went red. Maybe Dems will simply because Trump supporters are too dumb to fill out a ballot correctly. Okay, so it was 50% Democratic, 37% Republican, but the county is considered a bellwether of the state. It voted for the presidential candidate who carried Pennsylvania in every election since 1936. The Democratic Party has been historically dominant in county level politics. However, in 2019 Luzerne County Council election, Republicans for the first time secured a majority on the council in the country's governing body. Okay. On statewide national levels, Luzerne leans towards the Democratic Party only slightly. Al Gore won, blah, 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 blah. Trump won by 58% of the vote. Largest margin since President Richard Nixon in 1972. So Luzerne went to Donald Trump. More people voted for Donald Trump. I don't know what it looks like now. What did it look like in 2018? And it's also military votes, too, on top of that. So might be that they fucking skew even further, even more Republican than the regular voters. Could be the opposite as well, though. Buck Hollid, 99, thank you for the 20 tier 1 gift subs. I'm from there. High poverty rate, high senior citizen demographic, and working class service job. I think Amazon warehouse land. Okay. Yeah, majority representative. Oh, interesting. What the f- I used to live in Luzerne. It felt like a mixed bag. I was living there based on what area Luzerne people live in. Okay, it's not good enough. It's not good enough to conclude that it's like majority Republican or overwhelmingly Republican. It could be because they're veterans, though. I don't know. Put her molding at your Candace Owens tweet. Yeah, I know. I did it on purpose. Anyway, regardless, it's 9 fucking votes.
Took place during the 2018 Democratic primary. But to reporters in Washington, this is impossible to believe. For the people doing it,
it's not. It's not impossible to believe. You are lying. You are lying. It's not impossible to believe for anyone.
It is confirmation that actually it works pretty well. Last week, judges on Pennsylvania's Supreme Court ruled that mail-in ballots need to be counted well after Election Day. You won't be shocked to know that 5 members of the body that made that decision, 5 out of 7 people on the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, are partisan Democrats. They're elected. They're politicians. Last week in the state of Michigan, a judge called Cynthia Diane Stevens issued a very similar ruling. In fact, she went...
He's mad that we're going to be fucking counting mail-in sent ballots. He is upset. Tucker Carlson is on national television on the most popular news broadcast right now talking about how fucking upset he is that people are counting mail-in ballots, or they have decided to count mail-in ballots. What a psychotic take. It's Amy Coney Barrett. Oh my God, imagine my surprise. Dude, I already said it was going to be Amy Coney Barrett. Everybody knew it was going to be Amy Coney Barrett. It's not surprising.
Farther, she mandated ballot harvesting. Ballot harvesting allows paid political operatives to collect ballots in bundles and bring them to polling places. What could go wrong? Well, fraud, for one thing. In fact, fraud...
Wait. I love for Tucker to mention ballot harvesting and how ballot harvesting can lead to fraud. I would love for him to mention North Carolina. It would be so sick. I really want him to mention North Carolina.
Point of it, you should know that Cynthia Diane Stevens is not much of a judge. She's a political activist.
When ballot harvesting cases happen, okay, they look at exit polls. They look at fucking exit polls and they look at the disparity. And if there's a massive swing, then they often will look into recounting the votes and trying to figure out what the fuck happened there. Okay, it happened famously in the North Carolina congressional race, and the political operative that was at the center of that election fraud scandal, well, he got arrested. Want to know why? Because Leslie McCree Dowles, 63, was accused of directing workers to collect and mail in other people's absentee ballots during the 2018 Republican congressional primary and the 2016 general election. Wait, is this the guy? Wait, actually, I don't know if this was the guy. Hold on. Was this the North Carolina ballot harvesting? It's this guy, right? It was this. Okay. Yeah. Didn't they? North Carolina's top election officials issued a. In fact, Alice has been on the radar of state election investigators since 2010 when he was suspected of a vote buying but never charged. That was one of at least half of a dozen instances in the last 9 years that prosecutors and election officials received complaints of serious irregularities of Bladen County. Okay. Harris said he wanted to sign Dallas onto his 2018 campaign after noting the Bladen County man's work resulted in Harris' Republican rival scoring an incredible 98% of mail-in ballots in the 2016 primary. At the time, there was only an acting U.S. attorney in office. Later in 2017, Trump's appointee arrived but took no action to prosecute the matter. Instead, he assigned his staff to focus on a different priority, prosecuting a handful of non-citizens who had allegedly voted. Interesting. Interesting situation. Harris led McCready by 905 votes of about 280,000 cast, but the state elections board refused to certify Harris as the winner because of fraud suspicions. And Harris abruptly dropped his bid to be declared a winner and called for a new election. The board agreed. Everybody's talking about how they're harvesting the American dollar, but nobody's talking about how they're harvesting the American ballot. Republicans are, that is. Anyway.
Activist. You often hear conservatives deride activist judges, but that's not an overstatement in this case. Cynthia Diane Stevens is proud to be an activist. 4 years ago, she appeared at an event at the University of Michigan on equity and inclusion, and she literally gave the crowd advice on how to be an effective activist. Not judge, activist. It's on video if you want to find it. There's nothing part of...
Wait, why won't you show the video? This is so weird. Like, what did she say? Like, activism for equity and inclusion? That's a weird thing to fucking be openly against, isn't it? Am I crazy? Feels like it's not a bad thing to be an activist for equity and inclusion, but I guess we're against that now? Are we against that? Why are we against that?
Partisan judges would like to destroy more in the end than a quick, efficient, fraud-free election night. That's the goal here, make no mistake. If all the votes are counted in one night, no one will have time to issue rulings that throw out ballots they don't like. And that's why judges in Pennsylvania and Michigan want poll workers to count votes for weeks after Election Day. With their...
I don't get it. Are we don't want people to count the votes? Like,
rulings last week, they made that essentially inevitable. It'll be a disaster. We know that for certain. We've seen it before. During the Iowa caucuses this past February,
Tucker literally saying, like, more time to count votes means more time to cheat. Like, aren't you basically saying that you want to cheat when you do this? Aren't you basically saying you want to cheat by not including votes? Like, that people cast by mail? I mean, you're literally just admitting that you just don't want to count those votes, which is exactly what they're saying. They always say this. They've been openly stating this for a while. That they don't want you to count the mail-in ballots because they know that more Democrats are choosing to vote by mail. That's it. They know that. That's why they're running with a narrative that, like, that's why they're running with the narrative that the actual winner is going to be chosen on election night.
We still don't really know who won in Iowa today, 7 months later. But to the leaders of the Democratic Party, the caucuses weren't a debacle. They were a blueprint for the presidential election, where Joe Biden takes Hillary Clinton's advice and does not concede no matter.
Wait, hold on. But that's a caucus, Tucker. That's a caucus. That has literally nothing to do with. That has absolutely nothing to do with mail-in ballots. It's an outdated, antiquated system that should be changed regardless and will be. But how you can't use, like, the irregularities in a fucking fundamentally flawed electoral process that literally requires you to vote in person, by the way. Like, caucuses are bad because it's the opposite of mail-in ballots. If mail-in ballots are the best way that you can vote from the comfort of your home, caucuses are the worst way to vote. We don't also caucus for the president anyway, so it doesn't matter. Like, this is just completely ridiculous. Caucus is representative democracy's true final form? No, it fucking isn't. No, it isn't. No, caucuses are silly as fuck. Like, there are victories chosen by coin flips in certain caucuses. Like, there were so many different irregularities. They suck ass. Just because Bernie did well in caucuses in the 2016 primaries doesn't change that reality. They are undemocratic. First of all, you have to fucking vote in person and, like, everyone else sees who you're voting for. Secondly, you literally have to be there for hours. What do you mean? You have to be there for hours? What kind of shit is that, dude? It's for rich people.
No matter what happens, all he has to do is smile and wave from his hotel room on election night, and the lawyers will take it.
I mean, this is a projection. That's exactly what the Republicans are planning on doing, and they're not even hiding it. They're openly mentioning that they're trying to do that.